Hi, everybody. My name is Lucila Sigalski. I'm the job coach from Nationality Service Center, or as a lot of people know it, as NSC. Today, for me, is a very special video because I do have I guess, a speaker from a number of organizations that we have partnership that I really think you guys are going to be thrilled and very excited about all the information he has to share with you and all the services their members provide. So I want to introduce you to Joel Arnold. Arnold is a community building and planning coordinator from SEAMAAC, which is a nonprofit organization. Thank you so much for joining me today, Arnold.
Yeah, happy to be here. We're thrilled to talk with everybody and looking forward to it.
So I think the best way we can start having this conversation today and providing information to our NSC clients is by you talking a little bit about SEAMAAC. What is SEAMAAC? What is the services you guys provide? And I think it's also important to know like where you guys are located and, you know, kind of like an overall information about the nonprofit.
Yeah, so SEAMAAC, we are a nonprofit organization. It stands for Southeast Asian Mutual Assistance Associations Coalition. And we were founded in 1984, originally. So we've been around now for 36 years. It was originally founded to serve the large waves of Southeast Asian immigrants and refugees that came to the United States in the 1970s and the 1980s. And so the organization really started doing that health and social services work, and we continue a lot of that today. We're located in South Philly, so we have two offices. One that's right on Broad Street at Broad and Castle, right near the Tasker Morris subway station if you're ever getting off there. And then we have another outreach office down at 8th and Snyder, and kind of deeper in South Philly in our focus neighborhood. And
in which one are you located, Arnold?
So I'm located at our Broad Street office at Broad Castle. And so our organization, you know, like I said, we kind of started with that Southeast Asian immigrant and refugee focus, but today at SEAMAAC, we say that we serve immigrants, refugees, and marginalized communities, whether native-born or immigrants or refugees to this country. And that manifests itself, we have 3 departments now that all of our work focuses in. One is an education department, and they do truancy prevention work with the city of Philadelphia and the Philadelphia school system. And they also do an after-school program called Hip Hop Heritage that right now is at Sayre in West Philly. And they do a lot of great work teaching kids about hip hop culture, graffiti and mural arts, break dancing, video production.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's a great program.
That's very interesting. Sounds very exciting, actually.
Yeah, so yeah, we've got everything from breakdancing and education to our health and social services department is some of those roots of SEAMAAC in things like English as a second language classes, citizenship classes. We have a program called Roots of Happiness, which is a gathering once a week at the old Bach High School, where we have anywhere from 80 to 100 immigrant and refugee elders get together. And you know, 5 different languages spoken in the room, and it's kind of a place for refugees and immigrants here in Philly to build you know, camaraderie and just have a chance to get together once a week. And then that department also does more traditional programs like working on census and civic engagement work. I'm trying to make sure that we increase the representation of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders more broadly in the electorate. And this year we're spending a lot of time, even in these kind of challenging conditions, making sure that people fill out their census. So that's kind of our health and social services work.
Are all these firms, Joel, sorry to interrupt you, are all these firms that are available from that department free, or they have any cost?
Yeah, no, so SEAMAAC's work and all of those are free. Elders program is free. Our support for, I'm not entirely sure, I believe they are, but you'd have to confirm with our staff on things like our English as a second language or citizenship courses. I believe they are. But then, yeah, all that stuff is no cost to the public. We are a nonprofit organization. Yeah. And then what I do, you know, our third department is over the last 5 years or so, SEAMAAC's really gotten into community development work. And so I'm an urban planner by training. And so what that functions is we really focus on the neighborhood around Mifflin Square Park, kind of from 9th Street to 4th Street, from Mifflin down to Oregon Avenue. which is a neighborhood that for a long time has been a very immigrant and refugee rich neighborhood. And so we focus in that neighborhood on four big things, one of which is we've been leading a neighborhood plan for several years to redevelop Mifflin Square Park, working with the neighborhood. We work on the 7th Street Business Corridor, which is home to almost 70 immigrant and refugee-owned businesses, to try and make sure that they get access to capital or storefront improvements. We do corridor cleaning on that corridor. We run a community garden, actually one that NSC used to administer over on Emily Street and Mercy Street, which is home to about 150 immigrant and refugee gardeners, mainly Bhutanese, Burmese, and Chinese. And then the one that I'm here to talk about today is we have started a program our last couple of years called Vendor Village.
Yeah, exactly. Please give me all the details about that program. I really think it's such a great opportunity. And there's a few of our NSC clients who hear about this from, and kind of like, that's pretty much the reason why I went to your the website of your organization and started reading about it. I'm like, okay, this is really a good program. So I kind of like, we have to make a video so we can provide all the information, all the details to our clients. And I mean, like, and hopefully a few of them can actually get started in this project, which is, I think it's amazing, to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, Vendor Village kind of came out. It sort of came out of our park planning work. Years ago, Mifflin Square had a really active food vending scene, and a lot of kind of just people selling traditional, oftentimes Cambodian food at the park. But in 2016 or so, a lot of it wasn't licensed at the time, so it got shut down. And so when we were doing the park planning process, people had started to ask, and were interested in kind of keeping that vending spirit alive that had been present in the park. And so we worked with the neighborhood and got a grant from the Knight Foundation to start what was called Vendor Village. And the idea is of trying to have a regular licensed atmosphere at Mifflin Square where people in the neighborhood, immigrants and refugee neighbors or native-born neighbors, can show the talents, sell their wares. And our key centerpiece of that is what's called the Sophie food truck, which stands for South Philly East. And on that, it's a business incubator for immigrant and refugee chefs. If you've got, if you love to cook, if you've always been interested in starting a small business, the Sophie truck, how it works is it's no cost to the chef. We pay for the food truck, help staff it, pay all the licenses, the inspections. And if immigrant or refugee chefs in Philadelphia are interested, basically they purchase the food, and that's their only cost. And then the chef gets to keep 2/3 of the sales on the truck. SEAMAAC keeps 1/3 just to help pay for the gas, the licenses, the permits. And so far we've had, I think, at least 5 immigrant or refugee chefs serve on the truck and vend and kind of get small business experience. Everything from Burmese and Indonesian chefs to Algerian chefs, Mexican chefs. So it's a very diverse thing, and we're always looking for new neighbors in Philadelphia who have a passion for food, passion for their culture's food. Food is a connector across cultures.
Yeah, for sure.
Selling on the Sophie food truck.
And is this all year round program, or is seasonal program? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so the Sophie food truck is mainly seasonal. So we usually operate from, in a normal year, we would operate from about the middle end of April through the end of October. And on that schedule, the truck usually sells anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week. 2 days a week are at Mifflin Square Park in South Philly. That's kind of part of the commitment to the neighborhood to activate the park. But other days, we've gone all over the place where there are maybe more potentially lucrative events. We've gone all the way out to events in Conshohocken. We've sold at breweries in Philadelphia. We've catered events at City Hall. And so all of these are just, we try and make sure that, both the truck remains committed to Mifflin Square, which really is the home of the Sophie food truck, but then also through other events where chefs can make more money, get more customers. And so outside of that season, we might pop up once a month in the winter months if there's a particularly good event. But really the heart of the food truck season and of the vendor village season at Mifflin Square in particular, beyond the food truck, is that end of April through the end of October.
Okay, and when it comes to the events, so it would be SEAMAAC who is like looking for event opportunities where they can, you guys can cater to those events, or is the refugee in this case, who is the chef, who is going to look for these events and trying to cater those events?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a little bit of both. So I mean, at SEAMAAC, I'd say most of it is on SEAMAAC. You know, we're always out looking for events, looking for places to sell, looking, you know, making sure we get licenses to sell at events in the park system. But we've also had instances where, you know, last year we had our chefs who were Indonesian chefs knew of a office park in Conshohocken that they had friends who knew that they were looking for food truck vendors. And so we went out there, and so that was kind of on their recommendation. So if the chef themselves knows about a community event or an opportunity, you know, we take that in as well. But the onus on finding the events is on the SEAMAAC staff.
Okay, I understand. And so let's say we have people who are interested in, you know, kind of like getting started in this process. So how are the steps? That would be my first question too. And also, if there's any requirements that clients will have to meet in order to be part of this program.
Yeah, so there are some requirements that anyone selling on the food truck will have to meet. You know, the first one, if people are interested, would be to reach out to us at SEAMAAC. You know, they can always email me directly, and my email, it's just jarnold@seamaac.org, and I can send that along if we want to include it after the video.
Absolutely.
The first thing that we do is we have like a simple vendor intake form where before we even kind of have a meeting, we'll send them a form that says, what kind of food do you make? Have you ever sold food before in a commercial way? If you had to make a hypothetical menu, what would it look like? Then fill it out. And then what we love at SEAMAAC doing is after that, we'll do a kind of a taste testing with SEAMAAC staff and other neighbors, just to try to get a sense of, you know, to have the chef come in and show us their food and the kind of their culture.
That's nice.
It's a great working at SEAMAAC because you get to enjoy all these different delicious food. So sure. After that, you know, we'll usually talk to the chef, and if the chef is interested, you know, and still interested after that, then we kind of get into the process of talking about time commitments. You know, and one thing that is really important to us is that we require that all of our chefs, if they're going to work with us, go through and what's called Serve Safe Certified. So that's a program that the Philadelphia Health Department requires of chefs. And if you're working on the food truck, we cover the cost. Normally, that training can be anywhere from $100 to $200+ dollars.
Between 100 and 200.
Yeah, but if you're working on the food truck with SEAMAAC, we can either give a much reduced rate or cover that cost. And that training teaches you how to cook food safely, how to store food safely. And it also then, once you finish that training and you have to pass a test, the health department gives you a certificate that even after you're on the food truck, makes it that much easier for you to work at a place to prepare food. So it's a real skill that is, you know, at least one person on the food truck is required by health code to have that. That's the law in Philadelphia. But it's a great training that SEAMAAC supports the chefs in doing, and that is probably the one main requirement of all chefs that work on the food truck.
So I'm assuming this training is in person. It's an in-person training.
Correct.
Where is it? It's not at SEAMAAC? It doesn't happen at SEAMAAC, so it's somewhere else?
It depends on the time of the year. Sometimes we'll do it in person at SEAMAAC. We usually try and do 1 or 2 a year at SEAMAAC. But sometimes if there isn't one at SEAMAAC coming up, there are firms in Philadelphia that do these trainings all year round, that'll do them every week. So really, it's just at the time that's convenient for the chef.
So my understanding is like this training is pretty much like a preparation for them to take this exam in order to get the certification, right?
Correct. Yeah. So actually what happens is we give them the materials in advance of the training, kind of study materials. We really recommend that people study in advance. And then what happens is they'll go to the training. The training is an 8-hour training. So it is a lengthy one. And then actually at the end of that training, that's when they take the exam right there.
Oh, okay. So it's
So
one day
it's really more
training
like
and take the exam by the end of the day you the
exactly.
training.
Yep, and you get the study materials in advance so that you should come to the training already having studies. And then, yeah, at the end of it in the afternoon, you take the test and you find out usually right then and there, same day, whether you passed or not.
Okay. Is it only available in English?
So it's usually available in at least English and Spanish. Now, naturally, SEAMAAC, we tend to have a lot of clients who speak languages outside of English or Spanish.
Okay.
And so we do support people with as much help as we can provide in taking in doing the tests in other languages. The tests, so far as we've been seeing, most of the ability to actually take it is in English. But we are able to support people if they need help studying in another language and things like that, because the point of the food truck is to get immigrant and refugee chefs into the neighborhood. And we know that most immigrant and refugee chefs in Philadelphia speak English as a second language.
So I guess, would you say that would be like the biggest challenge to be part of this program, maybe?
That's probably the only major hurdle. Otherwise, and we do want to stress to people also that it is a time commitment. If you sign up to work on the food truck, it is important that you're committed to, selling at the park on a regular schedule. And, that can be a challenge sometimes as well. But we've had many chefs serve on the truck. We're very supportive of getting people through the Serve Safe training. And so, you can take the test more than once, and SEAMAAC is more than willing to be very supportive of that whole process.
Oh, that's good to know. So you were saying, like, if they are interested in getting started, so the first step would be to send an email to you, and then I guess you will get back to this intake, right?
That's correct. Yep. As soon as they send it to us, we'll reach, basically they send an email to us and we'll send them back that intake form. And that intake form, we have it already translated into English and Spanish and Mandarin and Khmer and Nepali. And so, we can have them fill it out in their language. SEAMAAC has 19 languages or dialects on staff. So there's a chance that whatever language they speak, whatever language they speak, SEAMAAC can provide them the resources in the language that you're comfortable with.
Wow, that is amazing.
So we're very fortunate to have a very talented multilingual staff.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, and in general, for any other services, if they're interested for the citizenship classes or computer classes or ESL classes, what is the best way to contact SEAMAAC? Email, walk-ins, appointments?
Yeah, so the easiest way, there's probably two. One, they can give SEAMAAC a call. We're open business hours all week, and SEAMAAC's phone number is 215-467-0690. Or they can also visit SEAMAAC's website, and we have all of our contact information on there based on what program you're interested in. So SEAMAAC's website is just SEAMAAC, SEAMAAC.org. And that'll have anything from education to our health and social services things around citizenship classes, all the way to community development stuff. And it'll have exactly who you need to contact depending on the program you're interested in.
Perfect, great. Well, thank you so much. It's been amazing. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for providing all this information. I'm really, really happily surprised about all the services you guys have available for clients. So I think it's amazing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, we love, there's so much talent in Philly neighborhoods and in the immigrant and refugee community here. And, we love working with our neighbors to try and share the diverse cultures that makes our neighborhood so great and that makes Philadelphia so great.
Yeah, well, and I'm looking forward to have an info session with you in person very soon, hopefully.
Sounds great. Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. And like we said before, if you guys have any questions, you can always contact me. Or if you want any type of service from SEAMAAC, you can also contact Joel or any of the members from SEAMAAC. We will make sure after this video to leave my contact information and his contact information. Thank you so much for watching today. Bye-bye.